I was hungry and alone at home. The clock ticked past midnight. My stomach growled, begging for food. So, I decided to order from UberEats. What could go wrong, right? The delivery estimated time was 30 minutes. I waited eagerly, pacing back and forth. The minutes turned into an hour, but still, no sign of my food. I called the driver, but there was no answer. A shiver ran down my spine. Finally, a knock at the door. Relief washed over me as I hurriedly opened it. A man stood there, wearing the familiar UberEats jacket. His eyes, though, held an eerie intensity. My heart skipped a beat, but I dismissed it as my imagination. He handed me the bag, his hand lingering for a moment too long. It sent a chill down my spine, but I thanked him and closed the door. I turned to inspect the contents of the bag, but what I found inside wasn't what I had ordered. Instead of the delicious meal I anticipated, the bag contained a note. It read,
"You should have stayed hungry."
Fear gripped me, squeezing my heart. I dropped the bag, my hands trembling. Something was very wrong. I called UberEats customer service, panic evident in my voice. They assured me they would look into it, but that did little to ease my terror. With every passing moment, my anxiety deepened. Time dragged on, stretching days into weeks, and the feeling of being watched clung to me like a suffocating cloak. Bizarre occurrences plagued my existence. Objects danced on their own accord. Whispers reverberated through vacant rooms, and an oppressive presence weighed down the air. I was trapped in a relentless nightmare. Then, on one fateful night, as I lay in bed, the hallway echoed with the haunting rhythm of footsteps. My heart raced, my palms slick with sweat. Step by step, the sounds drew nearer until they halted just outside my door. Breath held captive. Fear paralyzed my every muscle. A slow, menacing creak filled the air as the door swung open, revealing a shadowy figure. It was him, the UberEats delivery driver. He stepped into the room, his eyes ablaze with madness.
"You thought you could evade me?"
He hissed, his voice dripping with malevolence. My scream was but a silent gasp trapped within my throat. He lunged, brandishing a gleaming knife in his grasp. Desperation ignited a fierce resistance within me. We clashed, wreaking havoc on furniture, toppling lamps in our struggle. With a surge of adrenaline, I mustered the strength to repel him, breaking free from his grasp. I fled from the room, hurtling down the stairs and out into the street, my heart hammering in my chest. I dared not glance back. The police were summoned, launching an exhaustive search for the man. Yet, he vanished without a trace, leaving behind only the haunting memory of that encounter. The horror of that night remains etched in my soul, a constant reminder that darkness can lurk beneath even the simplest acts. Now, with each food order placed, I am tormented by the lingering dread that the UberEats delivery driver may return.
I had just started my shift as an UberEats delivery driver. It was a regular evening, nothing out of the ordinary. I hopped in my car and set out to deliver some meals to hungry customers. The first few deliveries were uneventful. I drove to different houses, dropped off the food, and went on my way. But then, things took a chilling turn. I received a new order notification on my app. The delivery address seemed odd, deep in the outskirts of town. Ignoring the uneasy feeling, I accepted the request. After all, it was just another delivery, right? As I drove down the dimly lit road, I noticed something strange. The houses became scarce, and the surroundings grew eerily quiet. My GPS led me to a decrepit old house, barely standing amidst overgrown weeds. It looked like it hadn't been inhabited for years. Reluctantly, I approached the front door. It creaked open on its own, as if inviting me inside. Uneasiness settled in my gut, but I couldn't turn back now. I had a job to do. I stepped into the dimly lit hallway, my footsteps echoing through the empty house. The smell of decay lingered in the air, making me gag. I called out, "UberEats delivery!" But there was no response, only an eerie silence. With caution, I made my way into the living room, where a table set for one awaited. Thick layers of dust covered the plates as if untouched for years. The sense of being watched grew stronger, sending shivers down my spine. Leaving the food on the table, I turned, desperate to flee the unsettling atmosphere. However, as I approached the front door, it slammed shut with a bone-chilling bang. Panic overwhelmed me as I tugged at the handle, but it remained stubbornly locked. In an instant, the lights flickered, casting elongated shadows that danced across the room. My heart froze as I pivoted, and there, before me, stood a figure dressed in ragged garments, its face hauntingly pale. Malevolent hunger gleamed in its eyes. Fear rendered me motionless as the figure advanced, each step deliberate and unhurried. I screamed for assistance, yet my voice vanished into thin air. Within the desolation of that house, it was just me and this nightmarish entity. With an unnatural swiftness, the figure lunged at me, its skeletal fingers reaching out, eager to grasp. I stumbled backward, desperately seeking an escape route. Adrenaline surged through my veins as I fought for my life. With one final burst of energy, I managed to break through a window. Glass shattered around me as I leaped out, cutting myself in the process. I ran as fast as my trembling legs would carry me, never looking back. I reached my car, breathless and bleeding, and sped away from that nightmare house.
I remember the night I encountered the most horrifying UberEats delivery driver. It was a stormy evening, and my stomach grumbled with hunger. Ordering some food seemed like the perfect solution. Little did I know what awaited me. The rain pelted against my window as I eagerly checked the app for updates on my delivery. Finally, the notification arrived, signaling the arrival of my meal. I rushed downstairs, excitement coursing through me despite the raging storm outside. As I opened the door, a chilling gust of wind blew through the corridor, sending shivers down my spine. I peered into the darkness and spotted the delivery car parked haphazardly at the curb. Its windows were heavily tinted, obscuring any view of the driver within. Reluctantly, I approached the car. The driver's door swung open, revealing a figure draped in a long, tattered coat. The dim streetlight illuminated his face, revealing pale skin and sunken eyes. A crooked smile formed on his lips as he extended a bony hand, holding a dripping bag of food. I hesitated, unnerved by his eerie appearance. But my hunger got the better of me, and I reached out to accept the delivery. That's when I noticed something off. The hand that held the food was unnaturally long, with fingers that seemed to stretch out indefinitely. Fear gripped my heart, but I brushed it off as a trick of the dim lighting.
Enjoy your meal.
The driver muttered in a low, raspy voice that sent a chill down my spine. His eyes gleamed with an unsettling intensity. I thanked him and quickly retreated back into the safety of my home, but his unnerving presence lingered in my mind. As I unwrapped the food, an unpleasant odor wafted towards me. I recoiled in disgust, realizing that something was horribly wrong. The once appetizing meal now revealed itself as a grotesque assortment of decaying flesh. Panic overwhelmed me as I realized the sickening truth. I had been delivered a bag of human remains. In a state of terror, I fumbled for my phone and dialed the UberEats support line. I explained the situation frantically, urging them to send help immediately. The voice on the other end seemed skeptical, suggesting it might be a prank or a mix-up. But the nightmare didn't end there. As I hung up, I glanced out the window, only to see the delivery driver standing under a flickering street lamp, watching me intently. His inhumanly long fingers pressed against the glass, leaving smeared handprints behind. I screamed, horrified at the realization that he was still lurking nearby. Panic surged through me as I desperately searched for a way to escape his clutches. The horrifying UberEats delivery driver had become a nightmarish presence in my life, haunting my every waking moment. To this day, I live in constant fear, wondering when he will return. The experience has left an indelible mark on my soul.